As everyone on social media knows, this episode leaked on Friday, despite HBO's best efforts for that not to happen. They didn't even give it out to press early, but it still leaked. That's how hot Game of Thrones is. And because it has a long history of being pirated, many people watched this leaked episode right away and shared their thoughts on social media. Good luck to you if you were able to avoid spoilers. I was able to avoid them for the most part, but I did see some hardcore Game of Thrones fans saying this was season 8 all over again. Fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me, as the saying goes. But was this episode that bad? I don't think so. I do think there are some worrying changes here from the source material that cast a potentially ominous shadow over season 2. And I do think the big ending battle between the dragons, our first dance, this first dance goes out to Aemond and Lucerys. I thought it was a little rushed, and I hope they don't rush all the action sequences in season 2. But at the end of the day, season 2 will be the dance of dragons, lots of dances. The dance card's going to be real full. It's a civil war between the blacks and the greens for the crown, and that action and the visuals should be pretty incredible based on the small taste we got tonight. So beautiful. By the way, speaking of the crown, whose dumb idea was it for there to be multiple crowns floating around? There's one crown, so whoever has their hands on it can help legitimize their rule. We got 2 people walking around with crowns here. It's ridiculous. And why doesn't Team Black have the black crown? Come on. Otherwise, the 2 houses, though, are very on branding. What if someone's like, I feel more of a loyalty to House, Targaryen, but black and red aren't really my color. I am wearing black and red, but I'm Team Daemon. I just really support one small part of House Black. I think otherwise, everybody's pretty incompetent, which is lazy writing, in my opinion. The best writing is when everyone's doing what they're supposed to, and it still all goes to crap. But when you have people who are incompetent and indecisive, then it just becomes a little bit annoying. Did you think I thought today was a little bit annoying, but I'm okay. I had dragons and I had some really great visuals. And I had Daemon. So at the end of the day, I was all right. But yes, dragons. Oh, dragons. And just like that, House of the Dragon turned into My Little Pony, with Daemon listing off the 13 dragons, thank you very much, that the blacks have or can race to claim versus the 3 adults that the greens control. And Daemon's like, that math seems in our favor, thank you very much. We have 10 more dragons! 10! All right, so let's list them. You got to start to know these dragons so you can talk House of the Dragon. We've got Syrax. He even names his wife, aka the Queen's Dragon, first. That's how on point Daemon is. He could have been like, I'm going to name my dragon first. Ooh, did I do that? It is my dragon, and it's a very cool dragon. Syraxes is an awesome dragon. But anyway, he says Syraxes, Meleys, we know that's Rhaenyra's dragon. Then he says your sons, how strong dragons, Vermax, Arrax, and Tyraxes. Then Baela has a dragon, which she never rides, Moon Dancer. We're like, you have a dragon? Get on that dragon! And then there are 3 unclaimed dragons. Sea Smoke, Laenor's dragon, still unclaimed. I don't know why nobody would claim that dragon. I mean, Rhaenyra was like, Vhagar was supposed to be mine. I'd be like, there's a perfectly good dragon sitting over there. Go get Sea Smoke. So that's a drift mark. And then also, Jaehaerys, who was king before Viserys, his and his queen's dragon, Vermithor, the second biggest dragon after Vhagar currently living, and Silverwing, are at Dragonmont, which is the volcano at Dragonstone. And there are 3 wild dragons living there as well. That's I believe that's the volcano Daemon was climbing into the other episode. Remember, he was going down there and finding some eggs, and he was like, yeah, I've kind of retired. I'm a dragon farmer. All right, back to war. But, so they're right there. They're right in their backyard. Daemon's like, they're literally in our backyard. Let's go get them. And Rhaenyra's like, no. Okay, we'll talk about Rhaenyra as a leader. But she does say here, well, who's to ride them? And so the answer to that, you'll find out in season 2, is that desperate times call for unlikely riders. And let's just say, thank goodness, there are a lot of Targaryen bastards running around. So basically they're going to be like, look for anyone with white hair and tell them to come on over. And a lot of those characters, a majority of them, in fact, should be characters of color next season. So we will be getting some very cool dragon riders. And they're going to be coming from a different place than everyone who, right now it's royalty riding dragons. And, these individuals won't be feeling the same way. So that should make for some really interesting scenarios. And also, we're down to 12 dragons for the blacks, because we lost Arrax, and with him, Prince Lucerys. What a sequence, though. What a sequence! But it had a huge change from the books, with the writers of House of the Dragon deciding that the road to civil war here is paved with misunderstandings. First, Viserys, talking of Aegon I's premonition as he lays dying, makes Alicent think that he changed his mind about his heir to the Iron Throne. Even I thought he changed his mind, so it's very believable. And now it turns out neither Arrax nor Vhagar can be controlled. Maybe they'll turn around and be like, you said stop? I thought you said kill him. Nice try, Arrax and Vhagar. But anyway, they both disobey their riders. Arrax attacking Vhagar first, and then Vhagar chomping back. Arrax didn't even hurt Vhagar, but Vhagar was like, you're going down. Arrax is a young dragon, Vhagar a very, very old dragon, the biggest living dragon currently. Yet both of their riders are quite young and inexperienced. Lucerys, obviously, heartbreakingly so. And even though he looks older, he looks older than his older brother. But Aemond is also still quite young. He made it clear at the end of the episode. In the inside the episode after show, they said that Aemond is going to go back and be like, yeah, I did it. I meant to do it. But you can see from the look on his face that he did not mean to do it. And they confirm that it was an accident, and he feels really bad about it. I don't think that's going to make Rhaenyra feel better, but he feels real bad about it. I did like the addition of his sapphire eye, which is also from the books. That was a cool choice. He should have quit while he was ahead. So history repeats itself this episode, with Aemond versus Lucerys, with disastrous consequences that can't be undone. Those who don't know their history are doomed to repeat it. And then there's another meeting with the exact same parties on the exact same bridge to Dragonstone. Syrax even landing in the exact same spot. Historic, iconic, and probably cheaper for the VFX team because they can use the same render files. Matt Smith and Rhys Ifans are the same, but Millie Alcock has been swapped out for Emma Darcy. And it's not just different actresses, but a different Rhaenyra. When she was young, the whole reason that Daemon was drawn to her was that he felt they were the same. He's like, look, it's the female version of me. Awesome. He's like Loki in that regard. And he felt they understood each other and they were working towards the same goal. But as she's gotten older, Rhaenyra, what do you know, has turned into her father. So here, history also repeats itself for Daemon. He is second to another loved one to the throne, whose indecision and ignoring Daemon's counsel puts everyone in a holding pattern. I mean, he's kind of trying to be Rhaenyra's hand as he had wanted to be Viserys' hand. I couldn't believe she took the hand pin. That was so petty. She was like, well, I took your pin. He's like, I'll just go forge another one. Thank you very much. So that was like embarrassing. I was like, Rhaenyra, come on, you got to think this stuff through. As we said during the watch along, I was like, she should have countered with her own offer and been like, you go tell Alicent that I'm willing to not kill her if she does this. But anyway, Rhaenyra, just like her father, is putting everyone in a holding pattern, only this time the crown is not secure. And this holding pattern could not only lead to total loss of power, but perhaps even death for their entire family. Daemon, he will never be able to take the throne himself at this point, so he's trying to get as close as he can, and he's trying to secure it for his children. And I thought that was pretty funny what he said to Otto about, he would, I do agree, the idea that Daemon's children would hold a cup and a shield for Aegon II is like, I can see why he's extremely offended. I mean, I think that Otto could have offered better positions for them. Couldn't one of them maybe be the hand? All right, so anyway, we'll see if Rhaenyra ends up being more effective than her father. Apparently, Emma Darcy said, in the behind-the-scenes interview that now that Rhaenyra knows the loss of a child, that's going to harden her. Although Viserys lost, I guess Viserys never lost a grown child. He only had, basically miscarriages like Rhaenyra does at the beginning of the episode. So I guess that is a separate loss for her. And we'll see if it does make her, evolve yet again. But right now, she seems to be as well-meaning but ineffective as her father was. Nice table, though. Way to theme the room. And again, suddenly everyone's wearing red and black ensembles. I would love to see the sewing room. You know how, last week we saw the kitchen? I'd love to see the sewing room where they're cranking out these looks, right? Speaking of looks, that one shot where Rhaenyra is going down the hall wearing her new crown, surrounded by her guard, moving all in slow motion with great, sound effects. That was excellent. I was like, that's a boss look, Rhaenyra. Just keep walking right past the council room because it's not going to go well in there for you. But I believe this is why Daemon loses his temper with Rhaenyra. Now, it's totally inexcusable what he does. He should never have put his hands on her. Yet, maybe now you understand better where he's coming from. And he's right about prophecies causing problems for Viserys and now Rhaenyra. I mean, look at what happened on Viserys' deathbed with him deciding to talk about a prophecy on the way out. And while Daemon is wrong, as I said, to abuse his wife like that, it's important to point out that for the rest of the episode, he still rallies throughout to advise and support her even when she's not listening to him. He really steps up to the plate for her. Where does Daemon go after their fight? He doesn't walk it off and pout. He goes to get Vermithor. He's like, fine, I'll just keep working on other parts of our plan. Again, the second biggest dragon alive after Vhagar. And since they're both the Dragonmont, even though they didn't show Silverwing must have been in the background somewhere there. She's Silverwing being like, who's there? Who's bothering us? We got to go to war, honey. But again, and that was an incredible shot. And Daemon had 2 great dragon shots this episode, by the way. He looks good standing next to a dragon. That's the lesson he should also be teaching his stepsons. He should be like, hey guys, let me teach you how to stand next to a dragon. All right, overall, I feel that by not allowing these characters to make decisions themselves, but instead be the victims of circumstance, makes the writers as indecisive as the characters that they are writing. If you want big, bold moves, characters need to make those big, bold moves instead of, to make them effective dramatically. This is just like a lot of a lot of bad luck. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Even Vhagar knows that, spitting out Arrax and Lucerys. Wasn't that an incredible shot when they were the bits of them were tumbling down like chum? That was brutal. As some of you pointed out, though, and I agree, this situation with Arrax and Vhagar does illustrate what Viserys said to Rhaenyra a long time ago, and that's that Targaryens controlling dragons is an illusion, a lie they tell to maintain control. But in fact, no one can control a dragon, really. A living creature is certainly quite different from an inanimate weapon. I guess this is what General Ross was trying to say with the Sokovia Accords. But this is the first time I would think, because no one's ever talked about it or made it, there's no contingency plan for it. All the time these kids are being taught how to control dragons. Everyone was like, sometimes they don't listen. Never came up. And we had not one dragon, but 2 dragons at the exact same time go rogue. It just seems like too much of a coincidence to me. And I guess that's also what bothers me about the scene, that both Aemond and Lucerys are robbed of their agency. Lucerys didn't want to attack Aemond, and Aemond didn't want to kill Lucerys. He's like, I was pretty clear that I just wanted to die. And so the dragons made that choice for them. That's crazy. I don't know why Aemond doesn't go back and be like, let the dragons fight it out, man. I don't want to deal with this. All right. But what a scene, though. The VFX, I think, were flawless, and both actors did a wonderful job. But shout out especially to Elliot Grihalt, who did a wonderful job, really pointing out the innocence and the naivete of Lucerys, but yet Lucerys was still trying to step up to the plate. As Sir Fatal Attraction said a couple of episodes ago, war is not fair. And sometimes children do find themselves in battle, which is heartbreaking. And also, Lucerys is so young here. At some points, he looked like he was in a Harry Potter movie playing Quidditch. And also, this illustrates a point that Rhaenyra makes in this episode. That is, I guess to some degree, it is a well-written show because this stuff all ties together quite nicely. But she says, for all our dragons, those dragons and their riders have no battle experience. And that was pretty freaking evident in this first dance. The rainy night, though. Beautiful choice with the clouds and the lightning. Also, again, saved a little bit on the VFX budget. You can't totally see Vhagar. Woo, saves us some rendering time. Arrax and Lucerys just wanted to get out of there. They just wanted to leave. But unfortunately, Lucerys was too polite. I have no idea why he turned around to hear Aemond out. I'm like, you guys got it. It's like Marty McFly being called a chicken. You can't keep getting upset every time someone says you're strong. We get it. Harwin Strong was your father. Everybody knows it. Move on. But again, he's a child. But I wish he'd pulled a Don Draper and said, really? I don't think about you at all. But Don Draper was an adult. And Lucerys was not. He really should never have been sent alone. The two brothers should have rode together. You know, it's like going on patrol. You need a partner out there. I guess before they felt like the dragon was your partner, but clearly that's not a good plan. I do feel, again, the scene was a bit rushed, but overall I feel it was a solid ending to the season, although I do think the ending of episode 9 was a bit of a better place to end, with, Rhaenys riding off to start the war, even though she could have ended it right there. Again, indecision. Over to House Velaryon. Corlys hasn't been a great husband either, having his midlife crisis by running off to fight another war and getting wounded, leaving Rhaenys to hold down Driftmark without him for several years. Years! She took it pretty well, considering. And while Corlys once told his wife that history meant more than blood, she seems to finally agree. Although she's not looking out for House Velaryon, she's looking out for women. Finally, and she sees an opportunity to finally put a woman on the Iron Throne. She's like, I walked so Rhaenyra could run. Even though Rhaenyra and Daemon are directly responsible for her losing both her children. She might not know that Laenor is still alive, but that's the whole point. She doesn't know. As far as she's concerned, Laenor is dead, and Rhaenyra and Daemon did that. Every time this episode, she'd look and smile at Rhaenyra, like, you go, girl. I'd be like, Rhaenys, she killed both your children, babe. This is crazy. How is that not at all coloring how you feel about this situation? I mean, at least be begrudging, Rhaenys. At least be begrudging. But there were some nice shots of Rhaenyra and Rhaenys this episode standing together, and Baela and Rhaena standing with them, the next generation of women. If only all these women were shown to be better leaders, and if Baela and Rhaena were given something to actually do. Hopefully Baela will get on Moondancer, and we'll see what happens to Rhaena now that her betrothed has been killed. Rhaena was such a spitfire when we first met her. She had such great ideas and plans, and now she doesn't do anything. It's crazy to me. Corlys has pledged allegiance, his navy, his family's dragons to the Blacks because of his granddaughter's betrothal to Rhaenyra's sons. We'll see what he decides to do about Driftmark now, although House Velaryon is about to get a lot bigger. We'll see if these are Corlys's bastards as they are in the book, although did he really go off and have a midlife crisis in every way possible? Or I'm kind of hoping that maybe they'll change it a little bit and Laenor will return or perhaps have finally fathered some children of his own. Laenor! I don't want Laenor's story to end that way. Speaking of agency, I would like Laenor to have some agency. So we'll see what the show decides to do next season. But I told you that I didn't think they treated their characters of color very well on this show. And many of you have come to agree with me. So let's see if they can do a better job in round 2. As I said, they will have some new characters of color entering the Dance of Dragons, so they have some opportunities to do better. Finally, speaking of having children, the shock of learning of her father's death. She never should have left his side when she saw how close he was to dying. I know some of you said it was seemingly taking a long time, but it takes as long as it takes. Does she want the crown or not? Like, Rhaenyra has taken just so much for granted. She's like, when they say in Austin Powers, I'm just going to assume it's all going to go to plan. Like, how is she surprised that Alicent and the rest of the Greens went after the throne as soon as the opportunity arose when they've been trying to do that since her half-brother Aegon was born in the first place? Does she not remember the cookout they had and how tense that was? I mean, it's just incredible to me that she's so caught off guard. She doesn't even have any informants in the Red Keep to send her a raven and be like, holy crap, your dad's dead, you better get over here. And so anyway, the shock and stress causes Rhaenyra to have a miscarriage with a baby who in the books is supposed to resemble a dragon. Although it seems Daemon has some grayscale from the crab feeder that he killed. I said he shouldn't have grabbed him by the skin. I was like, at least grab his sleeve, buddy. And maybe that would be an interesting way to explain these birth defects. But it's not made very clear here anyway that it's supposed to be a half-dragon child, which is supposed to, I took it from what I know of the books to kind of add to the creepiness and the tragedy and the lore of, House Targaryen. But, I don't think the show made it clear. I mean, no one even said, hey, that baby looks like a dragon. In the after show, the writers didn't even discuss it, but instead chose to focus on how this childbirth comes at the worst time possible for Rhaenyra, taking her off the board when she should be making very important decisions. But as Viserys said many episodes ago, she is a woman. Too bad. Deal with it. And at this time, she should be grateful that she has someone like Daemon in her corner who is ruling in her place temporarily, doing it well, and not trying to usurp her. Not once during this episode is he like, I don't know about you guys, but Rhaenyra's pretty bad at this. Why don't you throw your support behind me? My time has finally come. No, he's loyal to Rhaenyra. Even when she's like doing everything wrong and annoying him and ignoring his advice, still loyal to Rhaenyra. He's loyal to her children with Harwin Strong. He's not even trying to angle to get his own, Viserys, Aegon III and Viserys up there. So, I mean, I think that's really commendable. But what's not commendable is the show, I think, showing that baby's foot. I think that was a step too far. I thought that was in very poor taste. Because, it was pointless. They was just there for shock value. And I thought that was not good. So overall, not my favorite episode of House of the Dragon season 1, but still strong enough to get me excited about season 2. And I'm still Team Daemon. We just have to have a little talk about not grabbing people's necks. I think he knows he did wrong. I think he knows. And he's come a long way, as some of you pointed out, from clubbing his first wife to death. All right, so anyway, what do you think of the season? I mean, this show has us have some crazy conversations. All right, but this was the Middle Ages, this is what happens. All right, so I don't think there's even divorce. All right, so anyway, what did you think of the season finale of House of the Dragon? Some of the changes, the lack of agency, the big final scene. Share all those thoughts down below. Thanks for taking this ride with me. I'll see you for season 2. It's going to be fun. Subscribe today. And of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.